the trial of the Chicago Seven, Aaron Sorkin's most recent movie, brought to Netflix after its release was pushed back and canceled.
Sold by Paramount.
You know, well, I guess why don't we start here? Sorkin, how do you feel about him?
Great.
You love Sorkin?
Big Sorkin guy, yeah.
What are your favorite Sorkin projects?
I mean, they're obvious, right? It's A Few Good Men, right? Like that shit fucking slaps, bro.
Okay, I'll give you that. That's pretty good. The Social Network.
Yeah, like those two movies right there.
Yeah.
Like he's the most accomplished and one of the most famous screenwriters we have, and he started in theater, did TV, did movies, and now he's also directing. And I think directing is, relatively speaking, one of his weaker suits, but like I think he's cool. And like, yeah, he's polarizing to people, I guess, because he has his own specific view and that's brought into his movies. He's not unlike like Wes Anderson. He's not unlike Tarantino, Oliver Stone. Like you know what a Sorkin thing is,
right,
when you hear about it. And for him, that's some obvious things, right? That walk and talk dialogue, long tracking shots following that. Also, his personal politics, which are kind of a very idealistic, almost out of date liberal perspective, permeating through the characters, and they're almost like a mouthpiece for Sorkin's personal real life viewpoints.
Yeah.
That's pretty familiar, right? And all that is here again in the Trial of Chicago 7. But also his strength just as a screenwriter with that rapid fire dialogue and just a really strong ability to write sentences and conversations, more often than not, just makes for really engaging stuff. And for me, Chicago 7 was pretty electric movie. And I really liked it.
Especially for a movie where that's basically just a courtroom drama through and through. There's a couple of scenes outside of the courtroom where it's really more like plot moving and kind of building out the understanding of the larger situation, but the main action is in that courtroom. When I think of Sorkin's dialogue, I really think about him as like, or it's kind of like a cell phone, right? Because most dialogue is not boom, 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 boom. I mean, anyone that listens to this podcast know that there's a natural rhythm to a conversation that is not that snappy. And Sorkin just loves to have it be like a notification on your phone. Keep giving me that serotonin, one after another, and you're super engaged with it, and it's great. I thought the trial of the Chicago 7 was really good. I think that Sorkin, unlike Molly's Game, which I think was up and down, but I actually didn't hate.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think it's quite entertaining, but has some of his flaws.
Yeah, I think this feels like a much more cohesive movie and story that's kind of told overall. Who really stood out to me in this movie? Sacha Baron Cohen. I mean, if you didn't already know how awesome this guy was as an actor, I mean, people know him mostly for Borat, for Ali G, just being a ridiculous satire character. He's got awesome acting chops, and it almost makes me want to go back and get Bohemian Rhapsody again with him as the lead, because man, that's one of the like biggest what ifs. I feel like he could have crushed it as Freddie.
Definitely.
And him playing Abby Hoffman in this was absolutely electric, not only because he got to imbibe the movie with his humor and quick jabs, but then that final scene where he's on the stand and giving his or being cross-examined by the attorney. Yes. I just thought that was super engaging and really drove home what Sorkin was trying to say. Now, whether you agree with his politics or not, that's up to you, but I just felt like he delivered that heart-wrenching moment so well as that scene right before it where, Hayden, played by Eddie Redmayne, is being cross-examined by Rylance as like a practice, and then Abby Hoffman kind of comes in and delivers the heart of the movie, so to speak. So I thought Sacha Baron Cohen really showed out in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the most likely to get an acting nomination out of this bunch. This movie will definitely have a strong Oscars presence.
Yeah.
It would have probably in general, but especially given the year we've just had, where less
Mm-hmm.
movies have come out. Um, Honestly, Redmayne as Tom Hayden was pretty good casting to me because I think meta wise, how Tom Hayden's presented in the story kind of fits with how people view Eddie Redmayne. But I was surprised to see Redmayne basically play somebody like straight, like down the middle. We usually
Yeah.
think of him as playing like aloof characters or characters with ticks, whether it's Fantastic Beasts or Theory of Everything,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. Eddie Redmayne really plays someone who's like just kind of a guy, a normal dude.
Yeah.
And for the more or less he is. He's as Tom Hayden, and you know, I think there was room for more in terms of the ideological differences between Hayden's and Rennie Davis, and then Abby Hoffman and Jerry Rubin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be a fault we could see with Sorkin, where you kind of understand where Sorkin uh, falls in all of this, right? He's not super left, even though he's left.
Mm-hmm.
And like at the end where you have Hayden reading the names at the end, this really rousing, moving scene.
Yeah.
Then you have JGL like stand up out of a sign of respect, because
Mm-hmm.
he can be a good guy in the Nixon administration. It's okay that the other guys are not all bad, right? And it's like, I don't know if that adds anything. I feel like that just comes across as corny to me, even
Mm-hmm.
if I really like the scene. So like, I think most of the criticism of the movie would just kind of be where you stand on like the personal politics of it all, And it's funny, this is a movie has a very interesting path to the screen, written in '07 by Sorkin, planned to be directed by Spielberg, basically killed by the writer's strike that followed. And then flash forward to here, now Sorkin has cred as a director. He can make it
Mm-hmm.
himself, and that's what we got. And in the process, a lot of these themes and circumstances feel very relevant to 2020, unfortunately, even though the movie was written 15 years ago and is
Mm-hmm.
about something from 1970, 68. When does this take place?
Yeah, actually, it's
68.
funny when we were watching it. Julianne, friend of the pod, fiance of one of the Potters, said, "Is this supposed to be a social commentary on today?" And I was like, "No, this was just written a long time ago." But I think a lot of the same stuff is still very relevant. Shout out to a couple of people here. Jeremy Strong as Jerry Rubin, I thought was super fun,
Very fun. The
Jeremy
magic
Strong,
beans, man. They might have worked.
he just loves being weird. I love it. It's so great. Michael Keaton, with perhaps the like stunt. I don't know if it's stunt casting necessarily, but just like what a drop in
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
pinch hit Homer.
Yeah.
It's very welcome presence. Kind of reminds me of how late period Keaton's been going. You think of like Spotlight on. That's just these are kind of the roles he does. He's more or less playing himself, but as what was the name of his character? Ramsey Clark, the former AG. A really important part of the movie, really effective scene. Where you like kind of lose hope again as you're watching it if you don't know the real life history, and having Keaton there, she's just overqualified to deliver those two scenes.
And speaking of, I don't even know if it's overqualified, but Frank Langella, so hateable. Langelia, sorry. So hateable as Julius Hoffman, the judge. God. Oh man, I fucking despise him by the end.
Yes.
And he's such a likable character, although he does do a good job of playing these like hateable men. You think about him in like Frost vs. Nixon, and he also just like brings the heat in that one. Mark Rylance, accent work, so bad. I mean, he just was Mark Rylance for 90% of the movie. But
I didn't mind him, man. He actually had one of my favorite lines when they're back at the house after the day at the trial, and he's like, "Did any of you guys ever show up for jury duty before?"
I know.
No, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah, why isn't there anybody over there that looks like us? Well, did any of you show up for jury duty? Then shut the fuck up. Yeah, so good. Delivered really well. And lastly, last shout out, John Carroll Lynch, who is just like that guy, but shows up in so much stuff and is so good. I think my favorite John Carroll Lynch moment is in Crazy Stupid Love when he goes to fight Steve Carell. Just a great scene. But the acting in this is great. We didn't even mention Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who didn't really get a ton to do, but in all the moments he got, I thought killed it.
Absolutely, yeah. That's another interesting angle to this, right? Yahya's playing Bobby Seale, and like in real life, he was eventually removed from the trial. It became the Chicago 8 down to the 7, of course, right? And like you have that scene, really powerful scene where he's bound and gagged in court, right? Which apparently in real life actually took place for about a week, not just one day. Then he quickly gets sent out of the trial, right? Movie making. But I think, I mean, and that's another thing with the politics angle of it all. It's like Bobby Seale's presence in the Panthers, especially
Mhm.
at that time, probably more interesting than the fate that happens to the rest of the 7 on what
Totally.
happens, you know? Like I think there's more to gain from making a movie about Seal and Fred Hampton. And we are getting a
Yeah.
movie, Judas and the Black Messiah, about Fred Hampton next year with Daniel Kaluuya playing Fred and Lakeith Stanfield playing the guy who betrays
Awesome.
him, Jesse Plemons, as a fucked up FBI agent. Like I saw the trailer before Tenet for the first time, and really powerful. You can tell Kaluuya is with it. But how'd you feel about Fred Hampton like being in the movie for half a second? Like I didn't even recognize Kelvin Harrison Jr. playing
Mhm.
him, but like I mean the scene where like I just like fucking knew he died as soon as like that like shit started. I was like, ah, fuck. I didn't know if this was gonna be in the movie or not because I didn't really
Yeah.
know how it lined up. But like it was like so fast almost, right? And like there was definitely I think room for more with Bobby Seale and crew.
Yeah. No, I thought that was a powerful presence, but just something that wasn't explored enough to really make much of an impact. I did think the scene where he gets gagged in court was really well done, really powerful. Um, Fred Hampton's a very interesting character. I'm glad that we're getting a movie to talk about his life because, I mean, by all reports, targeted by the U.S. government
Oh yeah,
as a
FBI
hit
killed him.
job. Yeah, it's pretty. It's fucked up shit, really. So I feel like it's just something that needs to be explored more and wasn't in line with what Sorkin wanted to say. So
Yep.
um, I don't know. Sorkin doesn't tell a lot of black stories. I'll put it that way.
Another thing is he's struggled or has an uneven record anyway with female characters. There's not really many
Yeah.
in this movie, so he doesn't have to fuck any up, you know. Small victories. But
Play to your strengths, my guy.
yeah. But I mean, you think about the movie, you think about the star power of it all, right? Like remove Netflix from the equation. You have Sorkin, who's won a best screenplay and has been nominated 2 other times. You have a
Mhm.
best actor winner in Eddie Redmayne. You have a two people who just won Emmys, and Jeremy Strong and Yahya Abdul Mateen. You have another Best Supporting Actor winner in Rylance. Like it is loaded with celebrated people, which is why again I think this movie's going to do well at the Oscars in April.
Yeah, I think so too. It'll be interesting to see if Sacha Baron Cohen goes on the campaign trail because we've never really seen him get the chance. And I would like to see what that looks like, whether he just makes a mockery of it or whether he actually campaigns for it.
Yeah, and then and Langella also was nominated for Frost Nixon too. But the thing that what's interesting about Baron Cohen's case is this Friday or Thursday, Borat 2 is coming out on Amazon. Borat, not the same kind of performance. Obviously, will that turn voters off? As
Right.
stupid as that is to say, who knows, right?